Get going.
Yes. So welcome everybody to this. It looks like a Eurovision cooking contest. Oh, that's it does.
No.
10 points, 10 points, 12 points. So hey, everybody, welcome to this Zoom workshop, a virtual workshop. As you see, it's not me or Livnat who are gonna cook today. It's our dad, Kees, who's now waving his hands, and the idea of this workshop actually became started because it's almost Pesach. On Wednesday, it will be the zeyde night, the first zeyde night. And one of the most iconic zeyde dishes or Pesach dishes is matzoballs. And I know that my sisters love them. I'm a bit less of a big fan, but I know that if I eat them, I want to eat my dad's matzoballs. But because of the whole coronavirus situation, we cannot visit them since my parents are in the high risk category. We cannot go to their house and visit them and eat their matzo balls. So we have to resort to making them ourselves. And so we asked our dad, could you maybe teach us? Hello, Samuel, welcome. So the idea was that we asked our dad if he could teach us how to make his famous matzo balls because they're the best. And we thought, why not make it an event for other people to join too, so that you can learn while making it or learn while watching and then making them later. So having said that, I would like to introduce you to my dad, Kees Faber, also known as the matzoball maestro. And I think yeah, we're ready to start. So if you have all your ingredients together, let's start. There's maybe two things I want to say. If you want to say something, I think it's best to type it in the chat box and I can read it out. I muted you all because there will be too much noise if we're all unmuted. But if you want to unmute yourself and say something, that's fine too. But try to type it first and I'll read it out. And have fun. Back to you, Kees.
Thank you, Timur, for the very nice introduction. First of all, I'm not a chef. I don't usually cook big dinners, but I do like to cook. And when the question came from Timur to show everybody how to make the matzo balls that we eat every year, I thought, well, that's not worth putting that on video. That everybody knows how to do that. It's so simple. But then when I start doing a little bit of reading and some investigation on the internet, I realized that all the matzo balls that I see on the internet, look pretty scary, to be honest, and some of them don't even look like matzo balls to me, at least not how we make them. And when I look at the recipes, I see that a lot of the recipes have some ingredients missing. Therefore, you never can get a good matzo ball. So I accepted the invite from Timur to show you guys. This is a complete new era for me as well. I've never been on live streams before in my life. I'm a technician by profession, so I may throw in here and there some formulas to make things clearer. But for now, let's start. We'll start with matzo ball. The reason why I am been called the matzo ball chef is only because I always have been making them for the last 40 years, ever since I got married to a woman from Israel, Dina. And when I first came to Israel as a volunteer with my guitar and my long hair, I then was invited to the Pesach dinner in the kibbutz. And I still remember very well that with all this wonderful food on the table and with wine there, and a story being told in Hebrew, which I then didn't understood. It took forever. It took 2 hours, I believe, before we could eat. Finally, we were to eat the chicken soup with the matzo balls. And actually, then I realized, what is this? There must be a better recipe. And ever since then, I started to look for a better recipe. And I found a little book quite some time ago. It's called Recipes from the Jewish Kitchen from the Past and the Present. And in there, I found a very nice recipe that I'm going to show you today. It's very, very simple, very simple. Okay, a few ingredients: an onion, a middle-sized onion, 2 eggs. We're going to need, for the recipe, we're going to need 4 matzot. We're going to need 4 matzot, 3 put aside, and 1 we're going to make matzo meal of, matzo flour. Matzo flour can be bought, of course, in the supermarket. It's really nice and fine. And if you only use matzo flour, you get these really very fine matzo balls that look pretty scary. No, you got to make it from scratch. So we're going to do that. First of all, we get going with the onion. So somebody already asked, should I chop the onion? Yes, we should chop the onion, but in order to fill up the time, otherwise this thing will be over in no time. So I'm going to chop the onion, so bear with me. I'm going to put it on the fire, put it on the stove, and I'm going to chop the onion. So here we go. Here we have 25 grams of butter. That's what the says on the list. 25 grams of butter, not oil. For some reason, oil got in there. It should be not butter. Excuse me. It should be margarine, plant margarine. I'm going to put it in there, and then I'm going to start with the onion. So we do the onion.
Could you tell us why you don't want to cook the onion in oil?
Yes, I can tell you that the whole thing is when this will be the ingredients will be all together. They need to be in the fridge for at least half an hour, and then when they're on the fridge, it will all the whole dough essentially will stiffen up a little bit. And if you use oil, it stays oily, and it's not. I find it not so nice when it's completely oily. I think it's much better when you use butter, because then it's, what do you call it? Emulsifies better. So I never thought I would show myself showing onions on a live stream, but here we go. Everything for the kids, right? Okay, you want to try to chop them up as small as possible. Wow, this is about right.
Could you maybe tell us a bit more about where you got this recipe from?
Yes, I did. I think I just explained in the very beginning. Let me first put this in here before everything starts to become. Right. It has to be on a very small. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close it up now and let it simmer very, very low fire, and leave it there and keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't get burned. But it should get nice and brown, golden brown. Okay. This is step 1. Step 2, very simple. Whoops, 1 matzo. We put it in the. We take a blender. We're going to make matzo meal now. 1 matzo that I use is about 30 grams. So I'm not sure what kind of matzo you're using. This seems to be the normal size, more or less. So I'm going to put it in the blender. And this will give me approximately, I've checked it out, it give me approximately 4 tablespoons, and I only need 3. So here we go. Okay, now. The stuff that you buy in the shop, all ready to go, is very, very fine. No need for that. This is not too fine. It's quite coarse. That's the way it should be. It's good. So we keep this aside. This is about 4 spoons now, and only need 3. Okay. So that's ready. Then the next part comes, and that's I've taken how do you call this, Timor? A vergiet.
Colander.
Colander, here we go. Then I take 3 matzot, right? 3 matzot. And I'm gonna put it in there. And I break them in pieces. In the colander. Break them in small pieces.
So some feedback from Christophe. He is, I think Mina, Audrey, and Christophe are the ones who are cooking along with us.
Yes,
and Christophe just told me, "Ooh, I'm cooking along too, and it's hard to keep up the pace."
Okay.
Just so you know.
Sorry.
And Samuel is saying to everyone, Pesach Sameach, Happy Pesach.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
do you normally cook with this kind of blue fire at your house?
No, I got it from the. You mean this one? The
yes.
blue. What are you talking about? Yeah, no. That's.
Do you camp at home often?
No. I do not camp at home, but it's difficult to put the camera in the proper position in my kitchen. The kitchen is over there, and therefore I had to do this on the table, and I got it from the attic, and I'm able to fry the onions here. Okay.
We have a question from Mina about the smushing the matzah. How fine should we schmutz it? She's showing it to the camera right now. She has a little piece that's the size of a thumb. How big should they be? Could you show to the camera, Dad?
Yes, I can show. There's no. You make them. I can show. I'll come to the camera a bit closer then. Okay, here we go. Special for this. You see, something like this, right? You got this? Yeah, something like that. Okay. So, whoa. Well, my onions are going well, getting nice and brown. Don't want to burn them. Don't burn them. Nice brown, a little bit soft. Okay. The next thing we take some water, right? And I'm going to sprinkle them. I'm going to sprinkle some water on there. And don't make them too wet. Just sprinkle some water, and make sure they all get essentially damp, right? Damp. Oh, no, still some more.
Another question from Eva. Where's the cookbook from? And another question from Marjolein. Maybe you can hold a piece in front of the camera, a piece of the matzah, to show again how big it is.
Okay, well, I can, of course, I can put the. This is matzos from the in Holland. I bought them from the Hema, right? I'm not going to make a commercial here, but this is about the size. So, how much is that? I would say it's about 18 centimeters, maybe. Inches, 7 inches, right? Okay, but it's about 30 grams. I think that's also an indicator.
And I think she meant the smushed pieces.
Okay.
How big are the smushed pieces? People are worried about how big the pieces should be in the matzo balls.
No, don't worry. It's irrelevant almost, but small. And now when you put your hand in there, you can feel that they are nice and damp and but not, you know, they're still loose parts. It's not a dough yet. It's just okay. Then you're doing good. Okay. So okay, yeah. Onions are almost perfect. Good timing. Luckily, I rehearsed this, of course, to make sure that it would work. Okay, nearly done. Now, I put this underneath there for two reasons. Just if it drips some water through there, there should not be much water here. Maybe some crumbs, which is fine. So I'm going to put now the wetted crumbs. I'm going to put them in this this bowl here, right? And that is okay. They're ready to go. And again, onions. Ooh, nice. Starting to smell good. Now, we put this aside. 2 eggs. We're gonna take 2 eggs. Oops, I gotta get a fork. And then we'll have to put in slightly shy of 1 teaspoon of salt. One more last look. Okay. So
what kind of salt are you using?
Well, I'm using Baleine ground espas fine sea salt, but you can use any salt you're happy with. So that can be kosher salt, not kosher salt, whatever you're happy with. So slightly shy of 1 teaspoon. So not a big one, just it. You add it with the eggs, and then, and I think there is a reason for coming from a Dutch, and I'll go back to the Dutch cookbook in a moment. But there is ginger in there, which seems like a strange ingredient for matzo balls, but it absolutely adds to the magic of these matzo balls. So you put a good teaspoon of ginger together with the egg and the salt. Okay, and make sure they don't burn. Now they're done. These are done. Close this. Okay. So now I'm going to mix this all together.
I have a question while you're mixing up those eggs. When did you ever try to make vegan matzo balls without eggs for your daughter who's vegan?
To be honest, I never tried. I'm not sure what would be the replacement for the eggs. I'm sure there are replacements that maybe there is something out of a bottle that looks like egg but isn't egg. I'm not sure. I'm not into that.
You haven't tried it out yet. Okay, maybe next year.
Maybe good one for
aquafaba. Interesting. Oh yeah.
Good one, excellent. Okay, coming back to the book, right? This is a book that I bought in the 80s when I was going with my wife and my daughter going to live in Israel for a while, and I thought I better make sure that I know how to cook. So I bought this book. It's called, as I said before, it's called Recipes from the Jewish Kitchen from Toen en Nu, from then and now. And it's from Bea Polak. It's from 1980, and I'll put the ISBN number. I give it to Timur, so you can maybe look it up if you want to. I've tried to look it up recently, and I couldn't find it anymore. So It's a collector's item by now. Anyway, so we have the egg, we have the matzo, we have 3 spoons of matzo flour that we made ourselves, right? In here, we have that. We're simply going to add those things now together, including the onions that are, as you can maybe able to see. Are you able to see? Are you able to see? Not. Oh, maybe like this. Here, look at that. Oh, wonderful. You see that? Nice and brown. We're going to put that with the, including all the grease, all the margarine. Take it all. Okay. I'm going to put it in there. Nine out of the 10 recipes that I found on the internet on matzo balls do not include onions. Beats me. I put the eggs there. And finally, I put the 3 spoons of the matzo meal, matzo flour in there as well. Let me sure that I didn't forget anything. Okay. So now we have this mix. We're going to take a spoon and mix it up. And you think, is this going to be matzo ball? Yes, this is going to be a matzo ball. So you mix it up. Very simple.
How's everybody who's baking along feeling so far? Is this very different from what you're used to? Ooh, that looks good. Is it very different from what you're used to, or is it very similar? I see people nodding. So, oh, it's not similar. It's very different. Okay, interesting. I'm very curious to also see what you come up with in the end. Oh, you have Thelma Kneidlach. Okay.
Well, the thing is, this one has onions, which you don't see in all the recipes, but also the spoon of ginger powder makes it different. And it's not that you are tasting, you know, lots of ginger afterward. You hardly notice it, but it's different. Anyway, so this is what we get. It's almost like concrete. But it's, what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the fridge for about at least half an hour, which we're not going to do, of course, this time. But I did some preparations, so put some foil over there and put it in the fridge for half an hour. Then, after half an hour, magically appears this stuff. That's the same. It's the same dough essentially, but has been in the fridge.
Could you come closer to the camera, please?
Yes, it looks very different. Yes, it looks.
That does not look very tasty.
But believe me, it is tastier than most of your matzo balls you've ever seen. Anyway, and try it out yourself and let me know. Anyway, so the next step is they end up, matzo balls usually end up in the chicken soup, but you don't want to boil them in the chicken soup right away. So what is the best thing to do? To take a stock cube, and whatever the amount of water you need. Of course, we only have a few balls here, so I'm not going to do a lot, but essentially you're making some stock, a little bit, just enough so that they can float in there. Add whatever amount you need to put you put in there, whatever amount of stock. You know, these ones need 2 per liter, so I'm going to put 1 in there for now. Oop.
The question is, why not boil them in the chicken soup?
Well, okay, that's usually the excuse you see. If you put them in the chicken soup, and you have very nice transparent chicken soup, it sort of clouds the chicken soup a little bit, and some find that not appropriate. So it's better to boil them then separately first. And it seems rather long, but it takes about 20 minutes for them to boil. And that's quite a long time. And the reason being, of course, you make them like walnut-sized balls, and by the time you have you put them in the boiling water, it takes quite a while to get them really nice done completely. And you of course want them to be done. They also, by the way, they grow. They grow. They get bigger. So be careful with the size you roll these things, because it may you may end up with huge, monstrous matzo balls, and that's not the idea. So what I've done yesterday, I've made a few, and I'll get them in a moment from the stove here. But I'll show you, very simple to roll a few of those balls. Nice to make your hands a little bit wet when you do that, and of course clean. This is only for my private household, so I'm not wearing gloves. They're all clean. So this stuff, after it's been in the fridge, it's really nice. It's kids would love to play with this stuff because it's really nice dough to play with. And likewise, to roll small balls off, very simple.
How many balls would you say you would normally make with this one recipe?
That is very much depending, and I did some calculations on that. That's very much depending on the size you roll them. If you roll them like 2 centimeters diameter, right? And if you then change your dimensions to 3 centimeters, you will have about 3.5 times less balls. So that goes really quickly, and they get heavier, and so it's almost impossible to predict how many balls you get. But you see, this is a nice size. This is about a walnut size, small walnut, I would say. And now my water almost come to the boiling point. Okay, then a few more. Might as well finish this off. You got to take a large pan to boil them in, because, like I said, they all want to, at some point, they all want to float, and when they float, they all want to sit at the surface, and when they freely at the surface, they after a while they turn around themselves, which is, you don't have to mess with them. They turn around themselves. Very easy. So take a large pan, boil the water, put the appropriate amount of stock cubes in there. You can also boil them just in water, but then the stock gives it just a little bit of additional taste, in my view. So okay, we do this. I only got a few here. Let me for a second wash my hands, because that's a bit messy. Okay, that's done. And now the water is boiling. The water is boiling. I'm gonna add the cube in there. Whoops, right. And then when this one is dissolved, I'm gonna let these guys in there with a spoon so you won't burn your hands. And let them simmer for, like I said, about 20 minutes. That seems a long time, so we're certainly not going to wait for that. But we'll leave them here. If you have you can close the lid. I don't have a proper one, but you can close the lid.
Two questions, or one question. I didn't pay attention. How many balls did you make in the end?
Well, here from hang on, but the amount of dough that I had here ready was only half of what I did last night, and I have about 8 or something like that. And I tried a few out last night, and more than half I already have made. So at least 20, easily.
20 balls with
at
your
least
recipe.
20.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
at least.
And about the cooking the balls, it's a nice simmer, or do you put it like on a high heat? Do you want it to like boil vigorously?
No. Just a nice simmer. Oh, okay. My lovely assistant here, just
Also, you're getting a compliment that you might have found yourself a new profession.
Okay, so this is boiling now, right? I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Just, whoops. And here is what I actually made last night, and this already has been on the been boiling for 20 minutes, and I just heated it up. Now it's very difficult. It's a bit difficult to show you. Okay, well, you can see that it's a stock with a bunch of matzo balls in there. So by the time they come out there, this is a pretty good size, I would say. I will show it a bit closer to the camera just to
Another question, could you make this dough tonight and save it till Wednesday and then roll the balls, or should you make the balls now and then warm them up on Wednesday?
No, you can. Okay, here, look at that, nice and steamy, right? No, you can keep the dough in the fridge, no problem. You can keep the dough in the fridge easily for 2 days, no problem. You can also make the balls and boil them and leave them in the fridge like that as well. I mean, that's probably the more, because then you don't have to mess with it on the Seder night. You simply can take them out there, put them nicely in the soup, and you're done. So
you would keep them in the boiled in the bouillon.
Yeah, keep them in the bowl.
Okay.
Put them, leave them in there, and just put it in the put them in the fridge, and then take them out whenever needed. And usually we make quite a few, and during the Passover we tend to eat everyday soup, and it stays. You can keep it for quite a few days, no problem. No, I mean, matzos will last forever. It's the egg maybe that may have a problem, but there's nothing in there besides the eggs. So anyway, so they are boiling away. They're well, they won't be ready within the time of this well, you call it a workshop. I'm just demonstrating how simple it is, and there's just really nothing to it. It's very simple. So
yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's simple to you. I've never made matzo balls before, so this is new to me. I finally know how to make them.
I've shown you a few times, but you have not. I guess you didn't pay attention. Now you're in the panic, right? Now you're in the panic. Now you have to.
I think a lot of us are. I think a lot of us are now have to depend on our own cooking skills to do the Pesach Seder, because before it was always someone else cooking for us. So
it is. You see, they're slowly getting ready. I'll leave them in for a couple of more minutes, 10 more minutes, and then they should be good. When they're, yeah, I would. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat them shortly. Oh, I'm just being told no. You're not gonna eat them now. Okay, good. Okay, whatever. Okay.
Could you maybe open one and show us the inside, what it looks like once they're cooked?
Absolutely, yes. That's a good, Timur. That's a wonderful idea.
Maybe you can also take one out that's not cooked yet and show us the difference, so people can know whether their balls are cooked properly.
Okay, okay, we can do that. Yeah, well, we can do that. Yes, sure. Okay, so I'm gonna get one out here and show you what it looks like. What is nice, I find, about these matzo balls is that they have texture. They are not, they're not these scary balls that you sometimes see and that have no texture. Let me see if I can. Whoa! Now you see, you can see bits and pieces, both of the onions and both of the pieces of the matzos, and that's the way it should be. You see it? That's the way, in my view, it should be. And it's not the the picture, I think that it was on the VEY website of 3 matzo balls, you know, very nicely. They were, I think they were chemical. Something was wrong with those ones, I'm sure. Now I'm going to take one out of the, and you request him, I'm going to take one out. I don't think it's going to be much of a difference, but it's not. Well, as a matter of fact, there is a bit of difference. You can see why. I'll show it to you. These ones are not completely cooked yet, and you can see that there's still some. Whoa! You see, there's still some dry, more, you know, dry matzoball. They need to be soaked a bit longer and cooked a bit longer, and then they will look like this.
So, what is the verdict? Tasty?
Yeah, very nice. I mean, but that's like the butcher testing his own meat, right? That doesn't really count. So,
Audrey's clapping for you.
Having said that.
So, Eva thinks you're amazing. Mina loves you. And Christoph is asking if you could please do a quick recap of the steps from the beginning. I think there was some kind of a technical network issue. So if you could just say the highlights of the recipe and also like the pointers that make your recipe extra special.
Okay, I will do that. I will do it. No problem. Okay. 3 matzot, 1 for making the flour, making the flour in the blender, piece of cake. If it's a bit coarse, no problem. The flour is in the dough just to give it together with the eggs to give it some substance. That's so because the matzot are also pretty gross, not fine, coarse, right? It's no problem. Then chop 1 onion, 1 middle-sized onion, nice and small. Let it fry for, you know, until it's nice and dark. Do not burn it. It should not be, you know, it should not be burned. That's important. Take 2 eggs, almost 1 teaspoon of salt, a fat teaspoon of ginger powder. Mix it all up. Put everything together in a bowl. Mix it up. Put it in the fridge. Piece of cake. And then the next day or in an hour's time, or half an hour, roll the balls and put them in some stock that you have from stock cubes. So that's it. It's I can't make it more exciting than this.
One more question. 2 questions. One is, could you also use freshly grated ginger instead of ginger powder?
I have asked myself the question that, and I have never tried that, but it's definitely maybe worth trying. Although I'm a bit concerned that the fresh ginger taste may be slightly overwhelming. And I mean, the interesting thing about this, if you're putting in some powder, you don't really taste the ginger so much. It's not really you don't really notice it. People have difficulties probably in deciding, hey, there's ginger in here in those balls for some reason. So try it out, and let me know if that works. But I have never put real ginger in there. No. Ooh, it's about time, I guess.
All right. Well, I want to thank you. If there are no more questions, then I would like to ask Audrey, Mina, and Christoph, and maybe also the other people, if you're going to make the matzo balls, if you would like to send a picture to our email address, or if you're online on social media, you could please tag VEY Amsterdam so we can see the matzo balls. I think it'll be really fun to see what you guys make. So if you don't mind, please tag us on Instagram or Facebook on VEY Amsterdam, or just send it to us on info@oev.amsterdam. I want to thank you, Kees, Dad, for this amazing workshop. I'm definitely going to make matzo balls this year, and I'm going to enjoy them. I hope everyone enjoyed this little workshop, and thank you all for signing in. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Have a wonderful evening, rest of your day. And
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Pesach Sameach to everybody. Thank you for coming.
Take care. Bye.